Hey everybody, Dave here again, and today I've got a really exciting video for you guys because what we're going to do is we're going to blend a combination of the Canvas applications, which is a low-code solution, into another third-party component outside of the Power Platform, which is a no-code type style solution. And so everybody knows all about the Power Platform, because this is essentially what I do and talk about on this channel a whole lot. However, I want to introduce you guys to AirSlate today. And the reason for that is because it's going to change the way that you do business every day. And it's also going to transform and accelerate your digital transformations, bar none. Let me explain a little bit about AirSlate, what a slate is, why you need it, why you might need to change what you're doing and switch over to something like AirSlate. So one of the things that we deal with in the real life is a plethora of documents. I'll start off with this real world use case scenario. Have you ever bought a car and then had to sift through all of the documentation, basically signing your life away? Another experience similar and even more daunting than that one is buying a home. So if you've ever purchased a home or you've ever purchased a car, you know what it's like to sit in front of somebody with a pile of documentation. And not only do you have to sign your life away, but occasionally you have to fill out additional pieces of information. So the way that usually works is they have information about you and the transaction already in their system, but then in addition to that, they may need some additional information at the time of signing. And so that information then typically is going to have to be looked at by somebody and then rekeyed into the system so that it completes the full picture. Well, those days are gone. You don't ever have to do that anymore. All of those documents, that entire package. Now, this is not meant for real estate, and this is not meant for automotive only. This is all use cases. Think about HR. All of the onboarding tax forms that you have to fill out, all of the additional signature forms that you need just from the HR process entirely. Think in finance, all of the issues that you deal with either with employees and or shareholders and or, the list goes on and on. So it's not only vertical specific, there are very vertical specific things in healthcare. I want to actually take you really quick over to this templates area, and I want you to see the number on the side of these categories. So these categories talk about vertical specific or niche things. So there are things like a departmental area, human resource, but there is also vertical specific information like healthcare and finance. These are the templates and tools that's in here. Obviously you have your own documents, but these are accelerators. And so what these accelerators are, let's just hop into healthcare. I'm randomly picking on healthcare. This is a patient intake flow. Okay, so in this example, these documents could be either a PDF with fillable fields, or they could also be a web page or a web form. Okay, either way, it doesn't really quite matter. What I'm going to demo and show for you today is a Microsoft document that we converted into essentially a PDF. We've uploaded it into the AirSlate system. We've tied some fields into it. We're going to take information that we're storing in Dataverse, and what we're going to do is we're going to populate the information into the PDF form, but then we're going to collect additional information at document signing, and then we're going to conclude in this pile or this stack of documents by receiving a payment. And yes, you can take payments on the AirSlate system. So let's just jump into this now that you understand a little bit about what an AirSlate is, or a slate, as well as the company AirSlate. And then what we're going to do is kind of show you at full circle how this all works. And actually, to wrap up things, one of the things I will show you is how you can take the information out of the PDF, bring it back into Dataverse so you have a fully completed record. And not only that, we're going to extrapolate all of the documents along with the document signing certificate out of the system to prove not only did they sign, but it's going to have all of the metadata details about the signature process as a whole. So here I am in my sample or demo Canvas app that is using behind the scenes a Microsoft Dataverse table. So I'm going to jump over here, back here by Dataverse. We're going to spin open tables. I'm going to go to custom tables because that's what this particular one is, and I'm going to call it membership demo. And inside of the membership demo table, I have a bunch of records that I created as placeholders for this information here. So everything that we do with regards to what's going on here in the demo is all going to be stored in Dataverse. So these are the fields that's here, and this is work number 11. Here's my email address and the membership fee that I want to collect. So in this use case, maybe I'm running some sort of membership services, could be a book club, it could be, I don't know, any number of things where maybe a membership would apply. This is one stupid, fictitious type of example, but I want you to think about, again, going back to AirSlate and looking all of the examples that they have over here. These are COVID forms, e-commerce, education, event management, finance, IT, insurance. Anyway, the list goes on and on. There's so many forms up here. And not only that, they're tied to legal, there's a whole legal form system that's in here. I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but nonetheless, there is an unlimited wealth of information for your company to dig into here. So this is the information that I'm starting out with. Now I have a couple of records. They're all slightly different. This one was the one that you saw that was, noticed that the work was 11. And then this one is work, this has 33. So what work and sell is actually a phone number, and I'm intentionally putting junk or garbage data in here for the purposes of showing you how validation would work in the event that there is some bad information and the consumer needs to correct, or maybe the employee needs to correct the data. And you know, there's nothing worse that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing in a process at a company. And that's because there's so many disapparated systems. And so if you've got a really good architect and a really good engineer, what they can do is have the foresight to see into the crystal ball and try to eliminate the issues and or problems. And so this is going to be one of them. You capture bad data, and then the person filling out the information says, oh, that's wrong. And then somebody, if they don't notice that, on, you know, or it's flagged or it's highlighted, how do they know to go back and to rekey the information? So what winds up happening? You wind up with dirty data still, and the person who corrected it winds up super annoyed because they're like, hey, I've given you the corrected information. Why did that not make it back into your system? What was the point of all of this? So this whole system, the way that this is engineered, eliminates that problem. So one of the things I'm going to do here, I'm going to pick the very top row, okay? And so I'm going to then click on this icon right here. Now this icon is going to essentially take a integration between AirSlate and the Power Platform, essentially through a Power Automate connection, and it's going to create what's called a new slate. So it's let me just show you this on the back side here. We'll log into this demo sample account here that I use for demonstrations, and we'll log back here on this one, and then we'll go into this particular area, which is demo. And for this demo, we'll just pick on the one Airflow or Slate package that I have. And so here it is. It's just called membership. And so if I go in behind the scenes, there's a couple of things that's going on. You can see that there is the membership document. It's a PDF. And then this is a web form. It's a web processing form. And on this form, what we can do is then accept payment. And so that we have two documents in this stack. And together, collectively together, this stack makes a slate. Now, in addition to the slate, we should, you know, maybe a good name for this thing is a smart slate, because it is smart, because you can actually tie a whole bunch of logical process to this behind the scenes. And this is exactly what we're doing by pre-filling information based on information that is in Dataverse. We're also taking information from that and sending it off to the recipient that needs to receive this so that they can sign the slate. And then we're going to take that and extrapolate all of the data that they may have corrected in addition to any new fields, and we're going to send that right back into the Dataverse system. And then finally, we're going to pull this information out, and we're going to take the slate ID, which is the transaction of what this slate was, and we're going to store all of this off in Microsoft SharePoint in the document library. And so inside of there, we'll have not only the two slates, but we should also have a certificate of signing, which will authenticate it and be the official record of authority that says basically this transaction took place and this is how it did. And I'll show you all that in just a moment. So let's go through the process here. So I'm going to click on this icon right here. And so now the dancing ants went, and it says your AirSlate package was sent successfully and a new slate is being configured. And so now here I am back out here at this form that I can fill out additional information again, and I actually messed up on the form. I should have reset my form, but nonetheless, with that error on my behalf in my programming and not developing that, let's go over here to my Gmail, where I should have received a mail invitation to sign this slate package, and I do. I have it right here. And Actually, I have a couple of them from testing. Okay, we're going to fill out this form. Probably need to log out of this slate over here because it's going to just yell at me, and we can get out of the email because I don't need to be there anymore either. Leave. Okay, so everybody's going to receive this disclaimer. This is just a legal disclaimer. You go ahead and read it. It's just general boilerplate stuff, very similar to what you'll get at DocuSign and any of the other online recording, kind of just saying that this is an electronic way of granting and taking in information and data, and that you authorize that that's okay to do. All right, so just consent to that, and there you go. Now, here you'll see that I have everything pre-populated, and some of it I don't have populated because I didn't provide that level of detail. So I'm going to put in 555 as the area code. We'll do 666-1212 is my actual cell phone number. Now let's fix this validation number, and let's also do 555-666-1213. We'll change the number up a little bit. You see, now it gets validated, and you see that because of the validation kicked in, it's red. See how this is grayed out at the bottom? I cannot continue. I have to make sure that I have the proper formatting, and it tells me what the proper formatting is there. And so that's the validation component and piece of it. In addition to filling out the missing block of information for the cell phone, I also have this block here. There's some comments. Any document comments go here. See my comment. We'll ask a question, not a comment. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign this. I'm just going to hit my signature, right? And so now I can continue to move on. Now it's going to take me to the second portion of this, where it's going to ask me to go ahead and pay the $100 for the registration fee, and I can go ahead and do this. Even though I have it connected to a real account just for demo and testing purposes, I don't want to charge myself $100 for a fictitious membership fee. So I'm just going to, I have this also set to not required. You should set this to required, but because it's a demo, I need to be able to bypass it. So I'm just doing that with no requirement to collect that information and fee. So I'm going to go ahead and click complete at this time. So now all of the documentation is filled out. The signatures are done. We'll give it just a few seconds because it does take about a minute-ish between the integration between the two systems to, run the process, run the gamut, pull the information, send the information, and then of course upload the documents into SharePoint. So that just does take just a little bit of time here. And I can see that that's already happened. So that was even less than a minute. It does happen pretty fast. In my experience, it's been very, very quick. So now I have a link to the document, but you can also see the document comments as it's associated with this. Now, again, this is just a demo. You can have all kinds of metadata to support the process that you're doing. I'm just giving you a short demo, whirlwind demo, to show you what you could possibly think about doing between internal systems. Now, even though I focus very heavily on the Microsoft Power Platform, Dynamics 365, Canvas apps, things of that nature, if you're into traditional development, .NET background, or Node.js or React or Vue or whatever you're using, traditional development, or any number of things, even including Salesforce and a plethora of other, AirSlate is a great integration partner for you guys. And by the way, I've had to work very closely with their team, from the partnership team all the way in through to the back end at product management. Super responsive, super helpful, great team of people. I think you'll really enjoy working with this company. I know I sure did. All right, now the document link, I want to go ahead and click this here. So let's go ahead and do that. And this is going to kick me over into SharePoint. And I have a folder with the Slate ID. And then inside of the Slate ID, if I look at my membership PDF, and I open that up, I see my signature. And there's the AirSlate little, I forget what you call it, a stamp, I guess for lack of a better term, that says, hey, I've filled this information out, and this is in fact what it is. But in addition to that, actually, I bailed on it. Let me go back into SharePoint again. So in addition to that, I also have this certificate membership PDF. This is all about the metadata, about the signing. So I've got the certificate ID, the flow ID, it's all the information about it, including a copy of the signature. So this is very helpful. Not that I hope that God you ever need it, but if you had legal issues, had to go to court to reinforce an agreement or whatever, this alongside of the actual documentation should serve as a record of authority. And now I am not an attorney. Please contact your own attorney, but there are rules, regulations around all of that. And I do believe, and and I'm using air quotes when I say this, check with your attorney, but your basis should be covered near 100%. Obviously, things change all the time, so again, check with your attorney on all of those legal details. And so in addition to that, here is the payment process form that is also along for the ride, showing that I would have paid $100 if I actually completed the transaction. But I hope you're getting a sense now of what AirSlate can do to you, for you, and all of the different powerful templates that's up there. Again, I know you have your own templates, which is great, but I wanted to show you that even though you have your own work, that document that I use, I did not use from their template. I literally went into Microsoft Word, picked up a template, uploaded that, formatted it up in AirSlate with the fields, created a new table to hold all of that information, and then I built an app and Power Apps around that. So very, very powerful combination between AirSlate and Microsoft Power Platform. If you have any questions or would like to see further in-person demos or even talk to us here at Concentrix Catalyst, where I currently have my day job and I'm working, I would like to talk to you a lot more about these types of integrations. Concentrix is a partner, and they and we and myself are more than happy to help you. So go ahead and go to davidsoden.com. On that page, you'll find a calendar invitation area where you can schedule or block out some time on my calendar, and we can talk about a potential integration that you may have coming up, and or maybe you're looking to perform a really large scale or very decent digital transformation. And even if you only have a small one, that's fine too. I like talking to everybody because it gets to be interesting learning about how people do what it is that they're trying to do. You know, we're all here trying to provide access service to one another. So again, if you need any help, we're here for you. Thanks a lot. That's enough for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.